The diastolic started at 90, 140, 90, and I already lowered it more. Feeling the pulse in the artery of hoarse, clearing throat, no, even if hoarse. Clearing throat, no, even if hoarse. Clearing throat, no, even if hoarse. Of hoarse choking with a bass and a treble in the throat that they want. 120, 90. Highs make you cough or clear your throat. After jogging and having lunch, I lie down next to Beatrice, and I get a strong urge to cough, something that often happens to me. 130, 100. Pressing against her, I cough. I'm breathing. 120 over 100, so I won't cough. Finally, an erection appears, very pressing on her buttocks, on her skin, squeezing the pubis and the tension that forces me to cough. Now it's an urge to squeeze down below, like hypertension in the genitals. And that tension below produces a greater sensation of her body, and the more I feel her body, the more I squeeze, and I manage to make that hypertension be in the genitals, in the erection, and no longer in the chest. 140, 90. With the lower I go, more tension in the pelvis, more acute in the genitals, and the more acute in the genitals, the lower it goes. That hypertension is no longer in the heart, but in the genitals as an erection. 130, 100, with the urge to cough without an erection. And then I fell asleep and my pressure dropped. After playing and dancing around just like Nadal, I had that little rhythm going, and I can actually hear it in my voice now, and that is how God works. And that is exactly the way that God works. And that is exactly how God works. Constantly avoiding reaching the very point of having an orgasm in the throat. Avoiding reaching the point of the spasm, of the orgasm in the throat. And that is how God works. And that is how God works. I'm resisting the urge to clear my throat. And that is how God works. He forces me to modulate, to make a rhythm perpendicular to the voice, where the voice pulses, like Nadal's little dance. But I am not vocalizing with those frequencies, but perpendicular to them, the little rhythm it gave me. Raise my pressure. It was with the erection up here. I felt it in the thigh, in the hit, and then it returned here in the modulation with the melody. All the congested voice, as if I had some brain damage. To the men. Scanning speech, it is called. Kind and holy heart, making the urge to cough be right here, like a pulsation in the throat. All the men from little white tablecloth, in winter hours of never ever again. So all my life looking for a bass and a treble that I'm already reaching in my voice, and it refuses to go away. Well, my blood pressure won't drop, but it's what I'm seeking, that this voice doesn't leave me, that it stays with me. The heart has that strength, but I couldn't pass it to my voice because, it is my grandpa's bass, and it is the bass of scanning speech. That forcefulness in her voice feels like a kind of aggression, a sort of tension. My mother was the one who embroidered them herself. It's like the same hit of aggressive, strong tennis which bothers the ear, or that the ear gets used to that hit, to that sound, and to that connection in the gaze, in the ear, in the fist. Today at 12 o'clock midnight, I woke up with my muscles all cramped up and feeling kind of numb. I started taking my pulse in both my hands and feet, and after about an hour had passed, I ended up breathing just like this. Like the cokeheads. I was with my pressure at 160, 100, and it dropped to 160, which it never does. The same sensation of numbness given by hyperventilation is reached, and I had it before hyperventilating. It went back down to 120/70. Feeling on the bridge of the nose and the cold right here. Yesterday, I was going to work with Beatrice in the garden. I felt dizzy and cramped, numb. After a while, I called the secretary, and her voice connected me to the auditory frequency I was in. It often happens, and I got her to talk about a topic that unnerves her. And that tense frequency helped me enter my expanded visual frequency. And I stayed here training to listen to that louder, wider sound. And at night was when I discovered that I always cramp up, get numb. And this breathing, the mucus part inside this cephalic dorsum and the palmar dorsum connection is made, is the one that works for me when I train and I am connected. And the body seeks that connection and cramps up and goes numb, and blood pressure rises as if I were training. But I have to reach it in relaxation. Smokers do it. Cokeheads hold, inhale, and suddenly the addictive thing isn't so much the coke, but this breathing that connects all the energy, as if one were at the maximum of excitement and visual expansion of the training. And the treble is up there. It doesn't come here anymore. And surely it decompresses the carotid glomus, which are the ones that give the hypertension or hypotension reflex. When I look up, I am addicted to it. Is good, bro. End of visual expansion. My cradle taught me to pray. After playing tennis today and this motion of the bent hand fully connected, it repeats in the whole body. And my blood pressure stayed very high, diastolic at 100, mostly on the right side. The left dropped to 90 because I have trained it more by feeling it on the left side. The right one, I wasn't able to connect. But I felt that something had been left very connected, and it is the voice, because it's no longer connected just to the palmar dorsal here, but to the palmar dorsal here, where the voice is placed. Around the eyes is a subtle frequency to recall, and also nasal breathing, cold that goes in, and there's no urge to clear the throat anymore. It's about imitating a strike. And I hear myself outside, like hearing the ball also up in the strike, hearing where it moves and expanded, turning widely, and this broken movement of the wrist, or the rhythm here. With the guitar, nose, and up the rhythm automatically because it isn't automated. Just like in tennis, I felt that from the chest to the hand, there was a complete connection. Now I feel it from the chest towards the head. Last night I sang later for a long while with this connection. I went to bed with Beatrice. I felt anger. Her voice causes me contradiction, hypertension. I had her count many numbers. I felt sleepy. I was drifting, had rich sensations, and finally, after 400 and saying motherfucker so good a lot, I slept. I woke up with a headache again this morning, and my blood pressure was 120/100. It's consistently 120/100 in the mornings. I came here to listen to the songs, and the voice of the women gives me pleasure. The pleasure of superimposed bass and treble. I connect to the urge to clear my throat, to a small thread, to the little beep in the ears, and to hear the strike sound, all simultaneously, overlaid like a quantum computer. Squeezing the anus, the buttocks, bass and treble superimposed, but outside, like after fainting, disappearing, hypotension, not making any effort. And playing tennis, it touched me here. The sharp connection, the one that comes out in the eyes. And this is an intention. It's not force. It's reaching the highest magnetic frequency of the pincer of the finger that copulates with my eyes. And there's a pleasure, which is the one that raises the acute pressure of a lifetime, or it's the one that normalizes it when it is reached. Last night, bass and treble in the voice on the outside. Palmar dorsum, already in the voice, with the subtlety, the magnetism to the body, and with connection at the same time. Quantum superposition, which is like, again, hypertension is quantum superposition, expansion and contraction, lows. And you no longer have to be at 90 diastolic, but at 80 and it connects. Dorsal and palmar superimposed. And here I have superposition of the two threads, those of the left eye and that of the silicone. Quantum superposition, diplopia. Rodrigo treated me with pulse therapy. He was there speaking to me, and I saw it double. And that was like a programming given by the pulse therapy from 5 days ago. And I come to connect it now. That is the pulse therapy, advancing fields so the person can traverse it later. With the dorsal connection, like palmar dorsal that goes to the nose, the head, between the eyebrows, go ahead then. Here, the rhythm moves outside. The scanned word, but connected upwards. Go ahead then, my boy, let's see. Yesterday's connection was with the voice that stayed up here. Today again, 100 diastolic. And well, there is no more despair. Beatrice checked my pulse. Then, my morning ritual, same, 100 diastolic. So I'm here hyperventilating, doing the Wim Hof technique, because it connects me very high. I release and hold it. A connection very high and then very low, beyond what one is used to, that I was used to. The cokehead's connection up high, the cocaine addict up high, hyperventilation connects up high. And then it's a calm connection down low, and a pulse is left outside, a C8, a total connection. The pressure already dropped to 120/80. Apnea is that breath and that voice that is over here, above, behind, and in the anus, outside of me, like a connected pulse, independent of myself. Yesterday with the guitar, and today with Beatrice's pulse, feeling my energy. It's no longer just feeling the rhythm, but note by note of the intervals, when I drop and when I rise. Same in the voice, note by note. This strumming, feeling each one I have when it goes down, when it goes up, becoming aware of that differential, of that pulse, of that high, low. And I can feel it right here as well. The superposition on the skin that I dreamed of last night too. Each dorsal, each palmar, each connection, it is superposition. And it's pleasure. And I came, too. Well, I almost came feeling a dorsal palmar sensation like that in a girl who was a mix of a little girl, a teenager, other women. I don't even know who it was, but it was a mix of many dorsal to palmar energies. Yesterday, March 13th, Election Day in Colombia, I reach almost a month of struggling with hypertension. And speaking of politics, I found that it turns me on, that tension, that hypertension, gives me pleasure. Just as I've also found that at night, what used to be arousal with Beatrice is now hypertension. Last night, feeling that high-frequency energy near the tiny dots, my eyes burned. I felt like peeing. They are very dots. And like I've done some other times, I went for a jar and tried peeing lying down. It was the same feeling of getting close to an orgasm and holding it back so as not to ejaculate. Because the last 3 days, I've woken up exactly like that, with erotic dreams and clenching my anus. Feeling that the anus connects to the tip of the penis and I have to stay still. Still for a while, waiting for the feeling to fade and the ejaculation not to happen. In that exact way, I tried to pee lying down, feeling the tip of the penis pulsing as if it were an orgasm, clenching my anus to keep it from coming. But it came, and it was pee, and it connected me right to the tip of my penis. And at dawn, I went down to dance and rock myself, And I felt the same feeling when dancing and swaying, the connection from the anus to the tip of the penis, and I felt the penis, despite having no erection, like a pulsing connection, like being held from there. And that connection improved my pressure. And then at 7:30, I went to play tennis, and I pulled my shorts like Nadal used to pull his, tilting back, tilting the foot or forward, like adjusting the underwear. And I scratched my shoulders, my forehead, looking at the sky, seeing very tiny dots with my eyes closed, and all the high frequencies brought me closer with relaxation to the energy that burned in my eyes with the salt. And those high frequencies gave me a connection to the pinch of my hand, of my finger, to the pinch of my index finger, as if I sang with my index finger when hitting, doing it with a lot of strength when serving and hitting. And the morning urination happens in 2 or 3 stages, a first one that gives no satisfaction. And after these connections up, down, in the voice appears a more perfect, more complete, more satisfying urination. And after the already complete sexual arousal, the residue that looks like a pathology is, in reality, the dissatisfaction, or the lack of connection up top. And when it finally happens up top, there is a complete emptying of the bladder.